The Deep End is a supporters group for the San Diego Sockers that was made in 2015.
There's no other group like us in the Major Arena Soccer League. We stand, we sing all 60 minutes.
We make life amazing for our players, amazing for the fans, and live in hell for the enemy. It started a couple years ago. The U.S. indoor team had a game here.
The Arena Soccer World Cup team invited American Outlaws to come to the game, and so our San Diego chapter here organized.
They did what they do best and made lots of noise and made it fun for everybody, and the club all loved seeing that. We had players from other teams that were on the U.S. team loved it and wanted to come over, and Craig Elston actually approached us and asked us if we wanted to get something like this started.
And I was the sucker that took them up on it. As someone who really gets into trying to promote soccer inside of San Diego, that this felt like the right thing to do. When it was originally started, a lot of it had to do with, when I grew up in that kind of core golden age for indoor soccer and for the San Diego Soccer specifically. I really felt the passion for this team above all other things because it was just part of my childhood, it was part of my upbringing.
Even before MLS came around and people were starting to talk about like soccer in the U.S. with the '94 World Cup, like I knew about soccer in the U.S. through the Sockers. I went to Sockers games growing up. I'd love to bring that supporters group element to that and be a part of it. And they just said, yeah, sure, show up. And that first game, I showed up and we were at Bay City Brewery the hour before game time. And they said, hey, our drummer wasn't there or isn't here today. Do you know how to play the drums? I said, well, I have a musical background and I know how to keep beat. So I filled in for the drummer that first night and I've kind of been the drummer ever since.
Yeah, you can definitely hear them, especially when there's free kicks or power plays on one end, obviously in front of them. But just in general, you can hear them throughout the games. That home field advantage is huge. And when you hear the songs and when you hear the drums, when you hear the yelling, that's the atmosphere we want to have.
Boys, boys, boys!
They've been fantastic. Whether, we're behind or mistakes are made, the support has been unconditional. It helps you focus a little bit more. It helps push you a little bit more to play better, to be sharper, and to play for them. You want to play for yourself, your team, but also you want to play for the fans, and they've been showing unbelievable support.
I feel like we do really impact the game. If you're down like 2 or 3 goals, you're starting to let your head drop or whatever, but you have the people still behind you chanting, saying, we know you can do it. So, just helping them know that we're behind them helps keep their heads up and really want to fight for more.
Yeah, obviously when I'm calling a match, you got to stay focused on the match itself and what's going on between the lines or between the boards, in this case with the Sockers. But there's plenty of times, there have been tons of different instances of seeing the deep end kind of out of the corner of your eye and seeing them do everything they can to pull a goal in to that goal in front of them. One of those times actually that is fairly routine as far as them being very noticeable is near the 4th quarter of every Sockers home game, where every kid that's in attendance is called over to the deep end and the spotlight in the grand old arena comes down on the deep end. And there have been nights where suddenly it goes from, the core few dozens, maybe even upwards of 100 people who are the core members of this supporters group, and suddenly all these kids come over, and we're talking 1,000 deep some nights, where it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see it grow that quickly and to see that it's about kind of handing down this passion, this love, this appreciation for the game and all that it gives us to the youth, and saying, hey, you might be a player, you might have played a game earlier today, and now you're a supporter here at night with the Sockers, and it's all one and the same. And I think being able to hand down that level of football romanticism, shall we say, to the youth of San Diego through just a little 2-3 minute sharing of passion, that's something really special.
I really love that we have those first 3 quarters to just kind of build up and show everyone we're about. And we can just see the build up, and we can tell that the kids want to come over for the fourth quarter. So when they come over and it's that fourth quarter, whether we're up by 4 goals or it's tied, I really do feel that the crowd plays an advantage. And there were a few times last season where when we brought those kids in, it absolutely played a factor in us either coming back or sealing out a victory. So to see them and just see the enthusiasm they have, not just for soccer in general, but for the Sockers and arena soccer, and to join us and be part of that supporters culture that I've kind of really wanted to cultivate, it's been really inspiring.
The parents that come up after the fact and tell us how much fun their kid had, how much they're actually looking forward to the next game that they come to, that's what we're really feeding off of nowadays, I think. Yep.
If you have a passion for soccer and you want to find a way to support your team more than just buying a ticket and going to a game, a supporters group is the way to go.
Our ultimate goal is that we want the stadium sold out. We want it to get back to the way that it was in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, where there were sellout crowds, where the top terraces were the only places you could get a ticket the day of the game, and where just the booming echo of the name of the club was ringing around the arena. That's where we want to get back
to. This is family right here. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but in the deep end.